You're tuned in to BTS, Between the Sermons at Northwood Christian Church, where we gather for conversations with each other, answer your questions, and open the curtains to who we are beyond Sunday mornings. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to BTS.
Hey, what's up, Northwood? Welcome to another episode of BTS, Between the Sermons, where we gather together with staff, leaders, other special guests to share a little bit of life with you and just show you how serious and stuffy we really are. I'm going to be your host today. I'm John Bowling, the youth pastor at Northwood. Pastor Barry is currently signing the ink on that contract that we just signed with McDonald's, which is really good. Yeah, that might also be the K-pop band, BTS.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
You knew that.
They got it wrong though, right? So.
Sure. Anyway, we do have a special guest for today, and before I introduce him, just remind you who is here. If you're new and tuning in, you probably see this guy's face all the time. This is Adam. Everybody say hi to Adam. And we've got Scott with us today. Scott and Joe apparently had bad hair days, so that's the reason for the hats. And our very special guest, somebody I get to share an office with, our middle school director, Joe Dyer, is here today.
What's up?
Yeah, good to have you.
It's good to be here, man.
It's good to be
awesome.
Here. Awesome. Well, to begin, I thought that we would just give Joe, like we did with previous guests, an opportunity to introduce himself. So, Joe, tell us really who you are.
Who are you, Joe?
Who are you? Like, just deep down on the inside.
Deep down on the inside, just a plain old guy.
All right.
No,
Let's move on.
My name is Joe Dyer. I actually have been in youth ministry for about 10 years. I'm 24 years old and I've been in for 10 years. It's kind of crazy. This year is my 10th year. I started working with Salem First Christian Church, unpaid as a volunteer middle school leader, actually. And so that was a pretty fun start. And then I continued on, and now I'm here working at Northwood as a paid employee.
Yeah, dude, way to step on up.
I finally made it up. 10 years later, I'm getting paid for this. And I've worked with Young Life, I've worked with the YMCA, and I've just kind of had this love for working with students and seeing the joy that they have, learning about Christ, learning about just the different things that are going on in life, and it's awesome. This is my passion. I'm actually going to school right now to become a youth pastor. So
that is cool. And who knew you had to go to school for that?
Yeah, I didn't know that until this year.
I love it. Hey, why don't you give everybody who is watching and us too just a glimpse on what an average week for someone who works with middle schoolers looks like?
Average week working with middle schoolers. I have a bunch of different small groups that are going on. And so we have a lot of fun on Tuesdays where we eat meals. Tuesday evenings, we eat meals. We end up playing a bunch of games, and there's a lot of funky questions that occur. It's really all that happens with middle schoolers is they just have a lot of funky questions. Just going to leave it at that. Right. And then when we're meeting on Wednesdays, we have like 30, 35 kids that show up, and they're pretty much all a part of our church, and they're just yearning to be together, and that's what it is all about right now, is just building relationships, building friendships. And so I created the youth group to be more like a Young Life club. So we have games up front, we do some music, and we have a message, and then at the end, depending on time, we play some more games. And middle schoolers they're crazy. They want to be around crazy people, and they enjoy having fun. So
That's why they want to be around you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I'm crazy.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. We're going to give you a little bit more time to share about middle school ministry at Northwood so that everybody who's watching can get a chance to just understand what it's really about and maybe even how they can come alongside the middle school ministry and just Northwood youth in general. But before we move on, I thought it'd be fun for us to just share a little moment or memory that we've had with Joe. Maybe one, that is just off the wall, because maybe some of those really are, or something that's just maybe really heartfelt and serious. I don't know. I'll let you guys go wherever you feel like you need to go with that.
I'll kick it off here. I have a memory of Joe from last summer. It was actually at at your house. We were hanging out and having a good time, and the pool was up, and Connor Lind was also there, and he and I thought it would be a really good idea to try to throw Joe in that pool. And it does seem like a good idea. Who doesn't want to throw Joe in the pool, right?
Exactly. I mean, I'm just that type of person.
Yeah, you're a guy that needs to be thrown in a pool. And so we were planning to do this, but Joe's pretty strong and pretty solid. And as we tried to lift him up, Connor probably didn't have quite as much trouble as I did, but I hurt my back really bad.
You were out for months, right?
It was a couple of weeks where I literally had to cancel worship practices because I couldn't stand, and it was rough. So yeah, don't try to throw Joe into a pool. It seems like you want to, but you don't want to. I promise.
Oh, that's a great memory of Joe. So one of my memories is a weekly memory. So every week, Tuesdays, we have a prayer time for our staff, 1 o'clock right before staff, and we spend an hour in prayer. And it always seems like I get to pray with Joe every week. The reality is I don't get to pray with Joe every week. I have a different person. But Joe is so loud in the room that if I'm usually hearing what Joe is praying about. So I feel like
we're all praying with Joe every week.
Every week, I feel like I get to pray with Joe. So it's a wonderful prayer time. So Joe, thank you for sharing your prayers with me every week.
I'm so glad that I could be a part of your prayer week. It's so awesome.
That's great. The first one that I thought of is also has to do with the physical altercation with Joe. This was Joe got hired. I'm like, hey, you're hired. Now you need to plan a winter retreat. So get on it. And we did. We had a winter retreat called Ignition at Sky Camp. Great time, great weekend. Joe did an amazing job. And I think we were playing Steal the Bacon. Yep. Right. It had been raining. And so the grass field had turned into a mud bowl, and everybody by then is just already covered with mud. And I finally made my way out there and decided to play. And let's just say I had a long lull in actually working out and put back a bunch of pounds that I'd previously lost. And so it wasn't in as good of a shape as I had been in. Anyways, Joe and I, everybody wants to see us go against each other.
Yeah, we're the youth leaders.
Makes sense. And so Joe and I, our numbers get called, or people call us. I don't know how it ends up happening, but we're just in a scrum for this duct taped sock that's in the middle of this mud bowl. And we're just rolling around. I'm trying to recall any little bit of jujitsu that I remembered from years ago, and trying to put Joe in a hold. And you're right, he is strong and outweighs me. And
I was at 200 pounds that time.
You were at 200 that time?
200 pounds.
Yeah,
I'm at 185 right now.
You definitely outweighed me.
200 for a long time.
Can you say that in the mic?
Yeah, I haven't been at 200 for a long time.
I'm just hoping never to get there. But anyways, that's for a different show. And he's picking me up and stuff and dragging me through the mud. But I have no quit. If you're going to be in youth ministry this long, you just can't quit. You can't be broken. You just can't let them break you no matter what. And so I'm just gonna die trying to get this thing away from Joe. And it was a blast. I think I had all kinds of marks all over my body the next day, but It was fun.
And we had a lot of mud.
And we were both exhausted.
Yes, for sure.
Exhausted. I think that was a wake-up call where both of us were looking at each other we need to get in better shape. Yeah.
I can't let this happen again. It was bad. Cardio that day was amazing, though.
That's good. Good times. Looking forward to lots more memories with you.
In all honesty, I love working here. Just because this is a huge family. We get to see each other on a weekly basis, but just being in person with everyone, everyone treats each other like family. It's amazing here. And so I haven't even been here 2 years yet, but I feel like I have been just because the way that y'all have treated me and just the love that you have for each other. It's amazing.
I'll say this too. We all had funny stories, and I think that's partly because Joe brings joy and laughter to the situation most of the time. But I will also just say that Joe is also doing an incredible job with the middle schoolers. My oldest son, Tyler, is a sixth grader this year, and Joe has made a huge impact in his life through his schoolwork, through just who he is as a person. So besides bringing a lot of joy and injuries to the staff here, you've done a great job, and you're appreciated for that too. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, I second that. Well, let's answer a few questions, and some of them might be serious, some of them might make no sense whatsoever, but that's okay. That's what we're here to do, to inform you and, maybe by happenstance, entertain you for a little bit while you're watching. So how about this? Do you love it or completely dislike it? The movie Frozen. I know you've all seen it a bunch of times. Don't even lie.
Joe, have you seen it?
I have. I've seen both.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I love it. Frozen 2.
of course you do. Of course you do.
Frozen 2, it's all about change and transition, and it's all about helping them navigate all these changes in their life. And I thought that was a really good, solid message for me, but for our children these days who are going through a lot of transition and change through COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good.
Why am I not surprised that Scott gets his life lessons from animated movies? I have legitimately never seen Frozen.
What?
Either one?
Either one.
I am going to bring the sing-along version on DVD to your house and force you to watch it.
I could break out in a little bit of Let It Go, but I won't. But
That's just because everyone sings that song.
But this, it's true. But I've got two boys, and so Frozen was never like big on their radar, and I got to dodge that bullet. So,
all right, fair enough.
You're actually missing out. That's what I'd turn.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I will say I didn't like the first one just because of all of the songs that came from it. Like Let It Go got annoying. I worked with elementary kids for a little while, and after that one came out, I was like, no, I'm not going to watch this ever again. But I did watch Frozen 2, and I did enjoy Frozen 2. So there was a difference, and I think it's just because there weren't as many mainstream songs that came with it. But it was about change, and that was something I thought was really cool. Like they applied the adult, like almost adult lessons to it for kids, and it was really good. I really did enjoy Frozen 2, but Frozen number one, I just couldn't. No.
I hear that.
How about you, John?
I think I genuinely like both. But it probably just depends on like who I'm watching it with. So basically, if I'm watching anything with Finley, that's my daughter who is 5, and she's the absolute best. And we have an amazing relationship. If I watch anything with her, it's good. I'm just having a good time, and it's just an amazing experience no matter what we're doing. And she watches some really obnoxious stuff.
I can relate to that. I took Cooper. I guess it was probably before COVID because we went to the theater to see it. We went and saw the Sonic movie that came out with Jim Carrey, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. And maybe, though, that was because I was with Coop and he loved it. And so, like, it totally does change your perception of the movie when you're watching it through your kids' eyes. I understand that.
Yeah, that's true. That just made me think, has there ever been a movie that you, like, loved as a kid? You thought it was amazing, and then you saw it as an adult, and were like, what is this trash?
Star Wars Episode 4.
Star Wars Episode 4. Do you mean like
that's a hot take.
Actual Episode 1, like Phantom Menace?
Correct.
Oh.
Okay.
No. Like it would be technically like the original saga.
Oh.
Yeah.
The very first Star Wars movie.
The reason why.
I'm not sure how to handle that.
Yeah.
The reason why.
Extremely.
I think you just hurt my feelings.
The reason why.
Pretty sure you just got kicked off the show.
Wow.
The reason why is because, like, when I saw it as a kid, I was like, man, this is amazing animation. This is like, I feel thrilled. And then I watched it as an adult, and I had more of a, just because I've seen so many more movies that came out recently, like that was just something I was like, man, this animation is not as good as I thought, or like I thought that was more realistic, and I just started dissecting it, which is partly the reason why I don't really like the movie anymore, is because I dissected it so much. But we watched it on VHS. Like, it was great. It was great all the time, but like the animation with it. I know that's a lot of you are probably watching. You're like, man, I just can't stand that guy anymore. Nope. Because that's
you're
the
dead to
original
like
Star
half
Wars.
the congregation.
Oh, I know. And I, as soon as I said it, I was like, I'm going to regret this, but I'm just going to keep going anyway.
Wow.
I just killed the mood. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I feel like he crushed all of our childhoods.
That's okay. Did any of you see the movie Time Bandits when you were a kid? No? Okay.
so.
Well, it was basically like a whole cast of little people, which was so cool when I was a kid, and they just traveled through time and did stuff. Never watched that movie. It's absolutely terrible. It's the worst movie. I thought it was the most amazing thing when I was a kid, and I tried to get my kids to watch it, and they hated it. They didn't like it at all. And I got through 10 minutes, and I just was apologizing to them. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a terrible dad right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is like never-ending story and all these 80 movies that you think were amazing as kids, and then you're like, what was I watching back then? And now I was like,
yeah, they're also really bizarre and twisted, and like I wouldn't let I don't know if I want my kids to. Yeah,
I'm there with you. Yeah.
I love the never-ending story. Man, you guys are just crushing all my childhood movies.
That's all right. That's all right.
I'll be all right.
Well, so in recent months and weeks, we've had a bunch of people get baptized, and I think we've got at least one or two baptisms coming up, right? And so I think it would be good for us to share a little bit about our baptism stories, if in fact we've all been baptized. I just made a huge assumption about all of us that we've been baptized. I should have asked you beforehand. But I just think it's a really cool thing to share, and especially if there's people who are watching, those of you who are watching and maybe new to faith or considering baptism, or maybe you don't even remember your baptism. And so just for you to really start thinking about baptism for yourself and what that means in your relationship with Christ. So anybody who wants to jump in and just kind of share your baptism story and why you felt compelled to be baptized and how it happened. Did you have a near drowning experience? Whatever took place.
Yeah, I came to know the Lord 16 years old, and it was cool how God worked through my family. None of my immediate family were believers, and God saved me. And a few months later, after going to youth group and getting connected to the church, my sister started getting connected. And a few months after that, probably about 3 more months, my mom started going to church with us and getting connected and everything. So it was a really special time when we got baptized. We all got baptized on the same day. And it was just a really special time because we'd all, put our faith in Jesus and decided to get baptized. And not only that, but my future brother-in-law, who was the same age as my sister, so they got married, obviously later on, but he got baptized as well. And so you see this progression of these pictures of really God doing some amazing work. And it was really, for me, it was all about just taking that next step of faith, in obedience to Jesus, saying, hey, I'm all in. And I see that in the scriptures, it commands us to get baptized and as an outward symbol of an inward change of heart. And it was a really special time and a meaningful time for us and as our family, because it really stood as a symbol of God changing and transforming the Chase family. It was awesome. So,
I was 9 when I got baptized. My dad is a preacher, and he has been my whole life. And for me, I remember when I was first noticing as a kid people getting baptized and watching that happen. And at first, it was just cool to me that you got to be in front of everybody and kind of talk about yourself a little. And then you were in this little mini hot tub, basically. And like the whole thing was kind of awesome to me. And so I became curious and started asking questions and told my dad that I wanted to be baptized. And he said, that's great. And we started talking about it. And he said to me, here's what I'd like you to do. I just want you to pray about it. And I think you'll know exactly when it's time to make this commitment. And I said, okay. And I didn't know what that meant, even as a 9-year-old, what I was looking for. But I took his advice and I thought about it and prayed about it. And I just remember one night I had gone to the lake with some friends, some neighbors. And on my way home, we were driving home and I'm watching all these cars pass by. And I had this thought, God knows each person in the cars that are passing me. I have no idea who they are, but God is aware of them and he's aware of me too. And that caused me to say, I think that's someone I want to give my life to. So for me, it was really just, I would say, great leadership and mentorship from my parents and my dad and growing up in the church. And I kind of had an easy, boring path to all that, but it was enlightening and personal nonetheless.
Very cool.
Man, that's an awesome story. My story is not even as cool as that. Like it was just something where I had a lot of friends who thought they were ready to be baptized, and we all went through a baptism class, but then I missed the actual baptism day because of something. And so I ended up having to go back through the class again. So all my friends got baptized and I didn't get baptized. And I was like, what? This is dumb. Like, I can't believe this. The reason why I felt like I was ready to get baptized was because I went through church. I had grown up in the church, and it was just one of those things that it felt like the next step, the next logical step. It wasn't really until after I was baptized. Like, I got baptized when I was 11, and I felt like it was a good step. It wasn't until I was about 17 when I had depression that I was like, that's why I got baptized, was because Jesus is calling each one of us to follow him. Jesus is calling us to be his children, his disciple. And because of the baptism, I was able to look back and be able to see what God was trying to get me to see before, but I didn't see it right away. It wasn't until I was 17 when I was like, man, this is rough. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And it just, that ended up reflecting in my mind as like, hey, you did this because you thought of something, but this is really what it's all about. It's all about you loving me. It's about me loving you and being there for you completely. And so the baptism was a symbol for myself. Like it usually is designed to be like a public declaration, but for me, it was a symbol of myself saying, hey, you already made this commitment and you're in it for the long haul. So that's really what it did for me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I love that you talked about like the ability to look back. A church I used to be a part of in California, they did infant baptisms, which many churches do, and they would light a candle in the service and then send that candle home with the family, and as a way to celebrate your like baptism birthday, to light it every day on that baptism day to celebrate as a way to look back, which I think is something cool. And I think that's, you could do something like that. You don't have to be baptized as an infant to do that. But it just made me think of the importance of looking back at our baptisms as a really significant moment, even if in the moment we didn't understand what was going on. Like, as I think about mine, I was about your age, so it's 30 years ago. I remember Pastor Larry Chapman, First Assembly of God, Lancaster, California. And I remember the kid Clint that got baptized with me. I could even tell you the shirts we were wearing because me and my grandma got in an argument about which shirt I could be baptized in.
Not the white ones?
I wanted to wear a Bart Simpson t-shirt, and she was like, no, you will not wear a Bart Simpson t-shirt to be baptized in.
That's great. Was it one of those that said "bite me" on it? That was a really popular Bart Simpson shirt back in the day.
No.
Or "Eat my shorts." That was another one that
it might have been.
That's the one I had.
Yeah. Yep.
Eat my shorts.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't like you, Joe. I don't remember the significance that I felt in the moment. I knew that I wanted to follow Jesus, and I also knew that everybody around me proclaimed to follow Jesus. And so that was obviously a huge influence in my life, my grandparents in particular. And so it was the next step in my relationship with God and following Jesus. and then also just recognizing that like, oh, God's put His Spirit in me. And so it's been something, to look back on, even though at the time, like I didn't fully get it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, which is probably the case for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Do we have any baptism services planned? Probably.
I know that somebody is getting baptized. It's either the first or second week in June. I can't remember which. Do anybody remember off the top of their head? But second service, whichever. It's either the 6th or 13th, I think.
That sounds about right.
So something like that.
I think the 13th.
Yeah. But yes, there'll be a public baptism right here in our second service that week. That'll be a really cool thing. I really think, that we're talking about how we don't fully understand it necessarily. I don't think when we come to that decision, and I really don't think that God calls us to understand it fully. I think He just calls us to obedience, to follow Him.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Because He's just constantly saying throughout Scripture, let the children come. And they're the ones that don't have the life experience or the knowledge yet. But I think there's something about just being willing to follow in faith, to be obedient in faith that God appreciates and blesses,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Thanks.
Yeah, that is. So I would just encourage you, if that's something, if you have not been baptized, to really consider and pray about, and then get a hold of the church, and we want to support you in your following of Jesus and your obedience to Him. So
absolutely
awesome. Thanks for sharing, guys. Well, I want to make sure that we have some time for our special guest to share really what is going on in the land of Northwood youth, and more specifically, middle school ministry. I know there's a lot's been going on, man. It's been a crazy year and a half, obviously for the whole church. Yeah. But Joe started, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we can't meet anymore a few months later. And so he's basically just done, youth ministry at Northwood in a COVID world. Yeah. But I think it'd just be great for everybody to know what's going on right now. Maybe even what are some of the needs, what are really cool things that you have coming up, and how can the church come alongside and support?
Yeah. Right now, so like John said, I started in January, and then we were in COVID as of March. And so I literally got to do one event, got to go to a couple youth groups, and then we were no longer. And now we're actually feeling like we're back in the full swing, which is awesome because we get to have 30 plus kids in a room together, which is amazing. We're not in the small little middle school room right now, just because, you can't really have 30 kids in one small room because of COVID. So we're in the fireside room, and it's great. Like, we have a blast. We do upfront games. We have a lot of fun. The biggest need that we have right now for the youth program really is volunteers. Like, that's really the biggest thing that we need. And like, on Sundays, we need people just to be able to hang out and just be extra eyes, extra adults, just being in the room. Wednesday nights, same type of thing, but willing to just have the conversations with kids if they want them, and just be willing to be able to chat with the kids. You don't have to be super active on Wednesdays. You don't have to be super active on Sundays, but just being able to, like, if they ask to throw a football or being able to throw a Frisbee or just something that gets a conversation going, because these kids are active, but being able to do that and just chat with these kids, being willing to do that. Another need is a little bit more on the active side, and that's a small group leader. That's someone that has that more intimate relationship with the kids. And so we're missing these volunteers. We have quite a few, but for me, I have college students who are my volunteers, and they go home during the summer, and so it gets hard. And so, like, it's just, and we have teachers, but they have families. And so for me especially, like, I just need someone who can be there constantly on Wednesdays, Sundays, and then we chat a little bit more about being a small group leader. The next thing, if you're not willing to do that, or if you're not willing, but if you're not able to do that, the next thing is being able to donate. Like really, right now, y'all did great. I mean, we got flamingos out here, and y'all did wonderful with that, man. It was so cool. We still have flocking that we're doing.
Yes, I'm constantly just switching out flamingos and baseball equipment out of the back of my car, from one day to the next.
Did you ever bring the wrong thing to the practice yet? We're actually swinging flamingos.
Gave a kid a flamingo to
I think you just cursed it. Why did you have to say anything?
Don't break the head off that flamingo. But man, y'all did wonderful with those flamingos. It's been a blast. I've taken some 8th grade guys out, and we're actually going tonight too. And so it's been awesome. But I know that you've had like 15, 16 kids or so that are driving around constantly.
It's great to have high schoolers who can drive themselves and just take their friends to go do it. Yes.
And parents who are also willing to do that too. Like without some of these parents, like it wouldn't be possible, because John and Liz have been doing a majority of it, and they are only 2 people. And so like with the fact that y'all have been so gracious with moving people all the way through North Eugene, Walterville, and I think, did you all do something in Junction City? Or did you like cut that one off?
I haven't got there yet. Why you got to bring that one up?
So if you live in Junction City...
Sorry about that.
If you live in Junction City and you want to pick up some flamingos on Sunday, we will put flamingos in your car and give you an address.
But they've been traveling all around, and there's only like the high schoolers have been great. But what I'm getting at is like y'all did great with that, and we're coming to the end. I think we're still putting them out, but we're not actually asking for anyone else to be sent out anymore, because we still have quite a few that we still have to do. But we're always looking for donations. And so actually on our website, I know for the middle school, we have an opportunity for you to be able to just donate money. And we have it to where you can give as little as $1 all the way up to send a kid to camp. And that's something that I feel like is awesome, just because a lot of people, that's all you really want to do. Like some of you, that's all you can do. And that's great. The other thing is, like I said, is you're donating time. So monetarily and time, that's what we're looking for right now.
So when you, in these donations for flocking or giving, the money goes towards kids at camp?
Correct.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Why don't you just give people a quick glimpse on what camp will look like, so they know what they're giving and what it would cost a kid if that kid had no financial support.
I'll talk about middle school, and if you want to talk about high school.
No, just talk about middle school. Perfect.
Then we'll do that. For middle school, what we're going to be doing this year is Tadmore closed early. So normally we go to Tadmore and we hang out at Tadmore and we have a blast. So they have games, they do they talk about Jesus and all of that. So we're not going to Tadmore this year, but what we are doing is I was smart and just kidding. That's sarcasm. I was dumb and decided to do 3 camps this year. One with high school, one with middle school for Young Life. And then I get to put on my own camp. And so we're going to be going to Sky Camp. And basically what's going to happen is we're going to show up here at the church. We're going to get all the kids ready. We're going to head up to Sky Camp, and then we're going to be hanging out with kids for a week up at Sky Camp. We're going to do overnight. It's going to be Sunday through Thursday, and each day is going to look a little bit different, but essentially it's going to be wake up, have some breakfast, and then go into like a devotional time. And that'll be like more of a silent time frame where there'll be a speaker. And actually, John's going to be the speaker this year. It's going to be sweet. And then we're going to...
Are you paying me for that, by the way?
Actually...
Your donations will now go to paying for John.
Can I just get my own room? How about that?
Yeah, I'll give you your own room.
Sweet.
You won't have to be a complete leader, just the person that I go and talk to about, hey, this kid is throwing up in the bathroom. What do I do? Anyway, so we'll have like just a very calm morning, and then we'll go into lunch, and after lunch is where we'll go to the lake. We'll do some hikes. We'll do just a bunch of different things around Sky Camp. And so it'll be a blast. And during that time frame, Adam will actually end up doing music. And so it's going to be cool. We're going to have a band coming in, some music going on, and a lot of food, a lot of fun. And John and I might have a rematch with Steal the Bacon. We'll see.
Oh, bring it on, boy. I'm in way better shape now.
Is that why you've been working out, John? You've been preparing yourself for this moment?
The only reason I have a home gym. I have a poster of Joe on my punching bag.
Yeah.
Me carrying him.
Training. Yeah.
He's holding bacon in that picture.
Anyway, I just want to say thanks to Joe for all your hard work to put that together. To all of our leaders, if you know of anybody who is one, if you know any of our youth ministry leaders, man, just say thank you to them because they give a lot of themselves, a lot of their time. And I want to say thanks to everybody who is supporting Northwood. For the 10 years I've been here, man, it's just blown me away with how generous you are.
Yes.
In so many areas, but in particular with giving to support our youth ministry. It's just amazing. And, you know, ministry continues to grow and change, and our needs continue to grow. And so we're always looking for adults who love Jesus and care about kids. That's really the only two requirements. Yeah. You don't have to be cool. In fact, if you think you're cool, there might not. Yeah, you might not be actually. No, there may not be that much of a place for you because kids can sniff that out.
They can tell you. They'll tell you.
They'll just tell you you're not. So if you have a big ego and you want to get rid of it, work in youth ministry is what I'm saying. That's a terrible sales pitch, but it's just the truth.
Kids are honest and they're awesome.
Absolutely.
You just gotta, sometimes, like you said, you gotta have a thick skin sometimes. So
absolutely. Well, hey, before we wrap up, I thought we'd just end with something silly, right? Do you remember years ago when there were a bunch of billboards around here? I don't know, you probably weren't living in Oregon at that time, but when like people were predicting the end of the world. Yeah, and they're buying all those billboards.
I paid for one of them.
You paid for one of those?
That was a joke.
Okay. But anyway, so don't see any of those. Some billboards are actually pretty amazing, like really distracting while I'm driving, which is
especially
terrible.
The ones that light up and
those
switch. Like those are the worst.
Those are the worst. But if you could have your own billboard and you just put whatever you want on it, what would you put on your billboard?
Wow.
This is a tough one. I probably should have prepped you in advance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's really good.
You just put thank you on it? Just a big thank you?
Thank you.
Okay, sweet. I like that. I like that.
Y'all are amazing, and I thank you.
Cool. That's good. Simple, to the point.
I got nothing.
I know what I would do.
Do you? Okay.
I know what I do. I would have a picture, a side-by-side photo. Pastor Barry, George Jetson.
There you go.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing. Sorry, Barry. That's what you get for not being here today.
I would have a side-by-side photo as well of LeBron James and Tatis. That would be my...
LeBron James, Fernando Tatis.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
That's good. Okay. Sure. He thinks they're the GOATs. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. We'll let you believe that. Yeah. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. It's been fun. Thanks, Joe, for being with us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And awesome. I hope you had some laughs. I hope you learned a little bit about us and just really begin to understand just the awesome relationship that we get to have as staff. And we look forward to having other people on here at some point. So do us a favor, send us your questions, things that you want us to talk about. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you stay up to date when
that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, we don't say that anymore.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Boomer.
Hit it lightly. You don't want to break your screen. You want to just tap
notification
it.
bell so you can stay up to date. All right. Thanks, Northwood. We love you.
Love you.
We are praying for you. Thanks for joining us between the sermons.
Peace, y'all.
See you later.